And so speaking of Val, I'm going to go ahead and introduce him. Valois J Vera, aka Crip Lyrical, is a disabled revolutionary poet, spoken word artist, and activist based out of Denton, Texas. His experience and knowledge in disability justice, culture, and identity is well noted. He has served on several social justice boards and commissions and has garnered many speaking opportunities, including at the
Hi
University
there.
of Texas, Fordham University, and Azusa Pacific University. While his journalism work can be found in New Mobility Magazine, Latino Rebels, and Rooted in Rights, their poetry has been published by Spoonie Press, Molly House, and the anthology American Graveyard Calls to End Gun Violence, Volume 1 by Red or Green Books. Their debut collection, Crip Lyrics, The Unapologetic Poetry of Disability by Poor Press, is an illustrated collection of liberation verses guided by lived experiences and self-reflection. Val serves as the host of the virtual poetry showcase, Storm the Mic, and has performed a one-poet show called Crip Poetics. And I'm pretty sure I'm reading from an outdated bio, so Val, if you want to mention any of your other books that you've had since, I guess this was from maybe last year, um, let us know because they're awesome. All right, Val.
Thank you, Laura. And apologies because my Zoom is all over the place. And I have to keep my camera off because I don't hear anybody when I have it on. So, thank you, Laura, for that introduction. Most of you know me, so I won't go on any further. But thank you. Welcome to Stone the Mic, a virtual poetry showcase that exclusively features disabled BIPOC and disabled queer poets. It's really an honor to host this space and just to get to share the virtual mic with so many amazing poets. Um, a video description is the Thunder and Lightning logo, which is a brown tanned hand holding a lightning bolt in a circle of colors. Um, Before we get started, though, let's take care of some housekeeping. Just a general content warning. Some of the poetry that will be presented tonight may contain adult language and themes of trauma or oppression. Be comfortable. This space is for everyone, and if you need to step away, if you need to lay down, you need to eat, you need to turn your camera off, do whatever you need to do to uh, practice self-care while enjoying this offering. This space is designed to support, uplift, and amplify. That said, we do ask that you keep your microphones muted throughout the duration of the event, unless you're speaking or a poet. We strongly encourage everyone to show your support by snapping your fingers or clapping your hands if you're able to, or using the reaction buttons on the bottom of the screen. And please feel free to use the chat uh, to share words of affirmation and gratitude and love. And each of the poets will be sharing, or their information will be shared. So feel free to support, follow, and take a look at those links. Um, and we get on with the show. Um, I want to start off a little differently, just a quick note. I had sent out an email to the poets last night, just a check-in and response to our election results from the other night. And I know uh, most of us in this space are greatly impacted by that. So I wanted to open up this space and allow people to feel what they want to feel. If that's anger, if that's rage, if that's whatever it be. So when the vibes are a little different, it may be that. Again, I just, I just strongly believe that community is one of the best medicines uh, for these kind of things. So let's spend the next hour or so in community. Today, as every night, we have two features, two co-features, we call them. We have Roses and we have Raye Hendrix. And then we have some open mics that are going to be scattered in between. And I'm going to pull up my script here. And so what we'll begin with, and I'll give a more detailed bio on our co-features when they step up, but they are going to share one poem each as our co-feature lightning strike, just to give everyone a little sample of what we're in for. So we'll start with Roses. Roses?
Yes. Hello, everyone. A video description of me. I am a Black man and I have on black glasses with a black bandana and a black t-shirt. Um, this first poem that I'm going to share is entitled Tulips Remind Me to Smile. I'm lonely because my reflection has no one to hold. The outline of my ghost seen from air that is cold. The vacancy used to be home to a love so bold. My reflection used to smile the way the sun made nature's happiness unfold, but it becomes a mirror to the Jamaican blue waters, searching for something tangible. In frustration, anger has become a raging river of pillowcase tears spilling over the edge of my mind in desperation. It feels like a fire is burning my frozen fingertips to ash when my cloudy eyes begin to leak precipitation. I hug the numbness where my speech completes puzzles, and her fingerprinted lips became my long forgotten embrace of sensation. Feelings have been evicted because complacency in place of self growth was more stylish. My living quarters are filled with the residue of erased poetry regrets because love is too expensive to furnish. I can't afford to keep falling on this psychological couch only to flood my frustrations and not move forward and allow my purpose to be banished. Moving sucks. The packing of emotions and unpacking a reality that shares tints of bluish. So instead, I'll just jump so I won't ever have to slip again. Love doesn't exist, I said as I got dressed in my final outfit of sin. I went out to eat for the Last Supper, then drove to a bridge to take a dive to the end. I jumped and felt the winds of fear flush reality back to my consciousness. The waves of laughter missed a reminder that life isn't that bad when your voice resembles a laugh. The breeze of memories give a taste of moments I kept locked away for safekeeping, forgetting where I put the key, like that lost famous recipe. Depression opens my eyes and I see the weight it bears. But when I zoom out, I see my hand pressing down on my shadow, causing the darkness to surround me. I'm falling and I can see the bottom increasing. The last memory I allow myself to have is when I bought myself flowers because the colors help me to see the sunshine from the shade or the moon from the dark. The curves remind me of a smile I still own. Least I continue to lease short-term happiness for joy. Every time I fall, I witness the natural healing of the body. Loneliness is walking on eggshells by your heels, but forgive yourself, and solitude of peace begins to blanket you. And again, I feel I bought flowers to say, I love you. And for that last second, I breathe into death and say, life isn't that bad. Concrete darkness crashes into dreams, and my eyelashes rise their rays as I awake to a new day. Cold panic sweats greet me, but I remember to just wipe it all away. I go to the restroom, brush my teeth, and recite my daily affirmations because today is not yesterday. I love me and add extra icing for the pieces that I feel like don't belong. My heart still beats, so I sing my song at the top of my lungs like I'm in the car by myself. Some petals have wilted, but a new season welcomes the future bloom. I love me, and that's enough no matter what anyone else thinks. I love me because God loves me. P.S. I had to jump to fall in love with myself. Poem.
Yes, thank you, Moses. Wow, what a start. And we're going to hear from Moses in a little bit with a full set, so don't go anywhere. Thank you, Moses. And our second co-feature, and give a warm welcome to Raye Hendrix.
Hey y'all. First just thank you, Val, for always hosting this. It's been a while since I've been able to be here. And I'm really, really excited to be here with all of y'all, but especially to co-feature with Roses. That was such a beautiful, powerful poem. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm always really impressed with people who can write long poems like this and have this just kind of sustained beauty because my ADHD really shows up in my poetry and that they are all very short. So just wanted to say thank you for that. And I'm excited to hear more of your work in a little bit. I wrote this poem that I'm gonna read. I don't ever do this, but something about rage I think is a really clarifying emotion for me. And so while my students, I'm a teacher in Tennessee, while my students were doing a free write yesterday, I decided to try and write with them. Teaching the day after the election in a very conservative area has not been super fun. So this poem is one that I think did just kind of, this rarely happens, like I said, just come out sort of truthful in itself already. It didn't feel like something that I should revise. Maybe it needs it to be good. I don't know. But this is a poem. I posted it on my Instagram today, which is also something I never do with brand new poems, but it feels right now. Trying to navigate all of this. So this is a poem that I wrote yesterday in class after the 2024 election. It is called Acceptable Losses. Sorry, I have to. Acceptable losses. Halloween in Texas, and a mother dresses her daughter and her daughter's stillborn daughter in the costumes of the living. Beautiful dresses, gold jewelry, painful shoes to impress the unnecessary audience of dark. In Tennessee, the floodwaters are still receding, changing the map. Across the world, in Palestine, they draw a border like a fate thread, America lending a knife. After the election, my mother says, try not to think of it as hate, while in Alabama, my brother peels a pride flag from his bumper like a scar, and a soldier at the edge of Arizona guts a hidden stash of water, imagining a child. My father says it's the economy, a desperate people. And after all, what is love to the god of property? Nothing personal, just good business, alone.
Wow. Thank you, Raye, for sharing that. It's beautiful. Well, thank you. And again, you'll hear from Raye in a little bit as soon as we get to some open mics. So, open mics, we have a handful of open mic participants. They will share a poem or so in a 5-minute set. Open micers, I didn't get everyone's bio, so I'm going to leave each of you to quickly introduce yourself, if you don't mind. I will start off with Maria Palacios. Maria?
Oh my goodness. Hello, hello.
Hey, Maria, how are you?
I am good. Let me turn my camera on for a minute and then off. I'm in a background that is kind of busy and I've been moving around and I apologize ahead of time if dogs interrupt. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I should say, waiting for a grocery delivery and the dogs are kind of unforgiving when someone's at the door. So hello, everybody. It is such a joy to be here. Oh God, such a relief to be in this space with you all, with everything that has been happening, with everything that has been coming down on us, like this avalanche of bad news. Like, oh God, it is so hard to be us right now. It is so hard to be disabled, brown, queer, poor, different. It is so hard. And spaces like this are necessary right now because it is by holding on to one another that we'll be able to survive not only the next 4 years, but the eternity of the ableism that has been oppressing us since the beginning of our existence as disabled people. So I remind myself and others that interdependence is a strength right now. In a world of capitalism, in a world that sees individualism and independence as the only thing that can save you, we as disabled people, we know better. We have survived through so much more already and will continue to do so. We need each other now more than ever. More than ever, we have got to hold on to one another. Because if we don't, then we'll be facing all the dangers that are coming alone. So we have to remember that needing each other is never a weakness. It is how we survive as disabled people. And it is in the name of that survival that I am going to share a piece, which I'm so excited because it is a piece that I've never shared before. And it's kind of forbidden at this point, but I'm sharing it with y'all. And I say it that it's forbidden because it's part of the upcoming Sins and Valid show. It's one of 3 pieces. And so I chose to share it with y'all tonight because I love to think about the immortality of Crip. So the name of the piece is Crip Resurrection. But because I'm all teared up and shit, I'm going to turn off my camera in order to actually read it instead of just being brave and trying to perform through memory. You know, I just want to be more comfortable in this space. So I'm going to turn off my camera and I'm going to read this piece called Crip Resurrection. Crips come back to life after we die, much to the horror of the non-disabled. There's always a new generation of Crip. We come back to life through the next disabled person, and the next, and the next car accident, the next shallow dive, the next gunshot wound, the next senseless war, the next undetected birth defect, one you will label a wrongful birth, an error, a mistake. But make no mistake, Crips come back to life and do so a little savvier each time. Armed with a history of Crip ancestors who paved the road once upon an ableist world afraid of disabled people. Crips come back to life because we leave our history written in blood and drool. We leave you lessons you'll never learn in school. The wisdom of our survival passed on to other Crips, like the ancient knowledge of elephants and trees. Wisdom that must be passed on to others so that we can exist in future dreams and future generations of disabled people. We leave our history stitched to the pages of disabled lives who would have nothing otherwise connecting them to Crip truths. We are Crip truths that get erased or go untold. We are raw survival, Crip bodies and disabled body minds, forced into the invisibility of non-disabled fear. And we are here surviving against all odds. We are here whether you like it or not. We are Crip, brown, and queer, Crip BIPOC revolutionaries, reclaiming the power you thought we did not have, and resurrecting Crip truths you thought would die with us. But Crips always come back to life. We reincarnate ourselves in the next disabled life, and the next, and the next. We are a never-ending loop of Crip survival. We tangle our crippleness around your own lives and get rooted into the reality of you as you evolve into Crip and the very things you feared most. But fear us not, my loves. Fear us not. For look at us. We are evidence of evolutionary love, life-saving love, Crip love, love capable of healing the wounds of ableism, putting back together the torn pages of our history as we rewrite ourselves into the DNA of your own truths. Crips come back to life. We are you. We are one. Come with me. Come. I'll show you the path leading to your own Crip resurrection. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria, for sharing that. Thank you for joining us. Oh my God, I haven't seen you in such a long time. Thank you for sharing that poem. Feel free to follow Maria, support her work, and yeah, that's great. Our next one, I'm going to go a little bit off script because we have our last minute add-on. So this person bought one of my books, and I sent them a thank you email. They introduced themselves. I'm like, oh wait, you could be on our Thunder and Lightning Storm the Mic show. So here they are. So let's give a warm welcome to Iliana Pagán. And nice meeting you, Iliana.
Hola.
Hola.
Hi, I'm Iliana Pagán-Teitelbaum. I'm a Puerto Rican educator and filmmaker with severe long COVID and post-COVID ME. And I'm a light-skinned Latina woman with red glasses and shoulder length blue, green, and brown hair. And there's a library, a virtual library behind me. I'm going to read Covidian grammar. And I pasted an image in the chat. That's the word COVID, and it's underlined in a red zigzag, the way the word processor spell check does when a word is not recognized. Covidian grammar. My word processor does not recognize the word COVID. Red zigzag under it, like a monitor checking its racy heart rate. Neither does my nurse. Can you please wear a mask? I must plead for protection. She hangs it under her nose. I ask again. Heart rate, 85 beats per minute. Neither does my primary care doctor. Just rest and take Tylenol until December. Do all people with long COVID have 50 symptoms like you? 3 Decembers come and go. Just so you know, we don't fill out disability forms. Heart rate, 95 beats per minute. Neither does my long COVID clinic. No, we don't prescribe any treatments. You should keep your heart rate under 95 beats per minute to avoid a crash. We'll see you again in 6 months. 6 months pass. Sorry, our clinic is closing. We don't have any appointments. Did you hear? The pandemic is over. So is funding. Heart rate, 105 beats per minute. Neither does my neuro-COVID specialist. Your cognitive test is normal. Nope, we won't scan your brain. Why are you in a wheelchair? Have you tried graded exercise? The thing is, long COVID is subjective. Oh, I don't know anything about damaged mitochondria. There's nothing we can do. I'm going to refer you to psychiatry. Heart rate, 115 beats per minute. Neither does human resources. A review was made of your essential job duties and your medical documentation based on unnamed policies we do not disclose. Your request for ADA accommodations is not approved. Yes, we read that you are bedbound for 3 years with all bodily systems failing, but we noticed you are still alive. Check back in if you die. You would have to resubmit all your paperwork signed by a doctor. However, we don't issue salary to dead professors, so it would be an unpaid position with no healthcare benefits. Would you still like to apply? Heart rate, 125 beats per minute. Neither does my city. Current risk low. People may choose to mask at any time. COVID-19 mitigation measures have been lifted. People with a positive test should wear a mask in public. If you are immunocompromised, learn more about how to protect yourself. Heart rate, 135 beats per minute. Neither does my government. Due to the expiration of the federal public health emergency, we have no further updates on COVID-19 aggregate cases. COVID no longer controls our lives, says the president. Provisional weekly US COVID-19 deaths are no longer reported by the CDC. Out of sight, out of mind. heart rate 145 beats per minute. Neither does the World Health Organization. COVID-19 is no longer a public health emergency of international concern. We will no longer update global COVID-19 public health and social measures as most governments adapt to COVID-19. Confirmed COVID-19 cases globally, 700 million. Global estimated cases of long COVID, 400 million. Cumulative global death toll, 7 million. Circulating SARS-CoV-2 variants, BA286, JN17, KP2, KP311, JN118, as well as LB1 and XEC have a high prevalence in fall 2024. Approved treatments, none. Heart rate, 155 beats per minute. Beep. Your vital signs fall outside of the range of normal. No kidding. Click on COVID, add to dictionary. The red zigzag disappears.
Thank you, Iliana, for sharing your work and for joining us. You always have a home here with Thunder and Lightning, so we hope to see you again. Thank you. Our next open mic is Emily Sladek. Emily?
Hi all. Thanks for having me tonight. I really appreciate everybody who's read so far. Your voices are lovely, and I think really helped model how to do it slowly, and hopefully the ASL people will be able to keep up with my tempo. I'm just getting to my Word document. So visual description, I'm a white, femme-presenting, non-binary person. I have black salt and pepper hair with glasses and a fuchsia shirt on at the moment. I'm lying sideways in bed. Let's see, just a brief introduction. I'll say that E is often told what a horrendous schedule she has. She works 2 part-time jobs, tries to advocate for her own healthcare and employment needs, and attempts empowered relationships with a vast number of people. Currently, she is trying to create a larger system change by serving on the Texas Council of Developmental Disabilities Partners in Policy Making, slowing down, 2025 cohort. E dabbles as Thunder and Lightning Poetry Collective's social media coordinator, with the goal of having Spanish captions and image descriptions in 2025. Public accountability, thank you. So I'm going to focus my time tonight on my mentor, Carol Manu. She passed away this summer at the age of 89. Her birthday, 90th birthday, would have been yesterday. And I just wanted to take some time with you all, especially during Native American History Month and the current world that we're in, to share some stories with her, stories that I can share with you with her permission. So it'll be a little bit of storytelling and a little bit of poetry. So I was reminded yesterday with the election, and kind of what's powering me forward is in 2008, the Gateways program for incarcerated youth that Carol founded we had finally gotten the college where I work to grant 8 scholarships for incarcerated youth. And with the recession in 2008, they were like, we got to take these away. And I came into Carol's office. I was so upset. I was just like, how could they do that to us? We've been working so hard. And she just says, Emily, as a woman of color, I'm very used to people taking things away. So I walked with her always, and I'm so grateful for the grace she showed me as I wear my white privilege and knowledge where I go. So just briefly, I'll talk about Grandma Standing Bear is one of her stories. She grew up in northern Montana on the Gros Ventre reservation, and her father was a coal miner, and he organized for workers' rights. And one day she told of this story that she went into the revered home of Grandma Standing Bear, and she said, whose daughter are you? And she says, Max Menus. And Grandma Standing Bear turned around and offered her meat. She says, come, I want to eat meat with you. And Carol always wanted to emulate that, where young people, she could see the talents and everything that was in them, and she could tap in them and recognize them and bring them out and really honor them. And then she, her other story is Ride That Horse. So she was the 9th, I believe, of 10 children. And so one day her brothers were talking with other kind of older kids, young adults, saying about what good horses and what good riders they are. And he said, even my kid sister Carol can ride a horse. And they picked her up with no shoes on, there was no saddle, and put her on top of a yearling that he just broken. And she tells of this story about the horse just taking off like a shot. And it was just heading back to the barn, but it galloped the whole way. And she was trying to hang on to it with her knees and her hair, and its hair, but she said, I just had to hang on for dear life. And she'd open the Gateways seminar at the incarceration facility every quarter, kind of with that story, to be like, life is going to be tough and you're not going to be sure if you can make it or not. And the best we can do is just to hold on tight and, ride that damn horse, is what she would say. So those are my 2 stories. And if it's okay, I'm going to just try to, maybe in the interest of time, read one poem about it. This is called Gaza Goddamn. I wrote it back in February. It is taken from Nina Simone's Mississippi Goddamn. Why are you staring back at me? Why am I seeing these actions and flags and hearts now? Why do you want my attention and energy now? A watermelon, really? Well, if that is what moves people, let it move me too. You say there is a goal in mind to raise public awareness to that magical 3%. I hate you. I hate you. I want to scream it louder. I hate you. You've hurt me. You haven't listened to screaming pain to Palestinians for years. You ignore conscious thought. Then, for you, a flash in the pan moment happens, a re-triggering event, as Bill Moyer puts it, and you're again in the frenzy with your marches, reels, and indignation. Awful. What an awful sickness your impotence is. You make me crazy. What time am I in? Am I in 2003 with the death of my friend? Am I in 2005 with the formalization of boycott, divestment, and sanctions? Am I in the 1980s with the first Intifada? Am I in 1948 with the birth of my mom? Am I in Maysoon's Zaid's North Jersey childhood as she navigates racism, nationalism, and disability? You make me crazy. I hate you. I hate that I have to intellectualize this to calm privileged victims. No, it's not anti Semitic, it's racist. BLM, says the Jewish Palestinians in international solidarity. It's the old nation state, white, settler colonial land grab. Whether it's otherizing people into terrorists or savages, we know this playbook too well. I hate that I have to call congressmen and the president as if blood and loss were quibbling matters. This is an actual urgent issue. The cycle of wait and die. What more could I have done? Regret that stretches across eons. Witnessing the creation of generational trauma and experiencing the benefits of generational impunity. That I have a right to live, make plans, work towards goals. Too bad for the ones whose birthright it is to die. Maybe my life will make a difference, but maybe that is just something I tell myself so that I can refocus on my preferences. Free Tibet, anyone? And that's the privilege. I get to choose whether I make time, whether I want to be in this fight. Palestinians have no choice. You're not, how do you know if you're a member of the privilege? You're not living in Palestine. Taken from Rachel Corey, my friend. Can you reflect on a time when you've dropped everything and made something stop? Do you have that experience? Do I have that experience? I've had friends that needed to be picked up from their colostomy appointments before, and I left work early to do that. Don't I have more examples? Maybe I have more examples of things I've changed for myself. My electricity has gone out before, or my phone was lost, and I was on the phone or online constantly to get my services back on. Flossing, after spending $7,000 on a tooth implant, although I've been on a depressive, self-sabotaging bender for the last 2 years, and I'm no longer flossing, so I'm not sure what to do with that. Skipping, after 6 months of my public school occupational therapist manually moving my legs in the right order. What is the trade-off we need to stop mass murder? The mind jog I'm having to do is beyond pathetic. I roar for fury. My privilege is bittersweet poison, similar to when my annual blood draw comes back with moderate cholesterol levels and diabetes. I have a choice. What will I do to force a new reality, not for me?
Thank you, Emily, for sharing those stories in that poem. Thank you very much. And thank you for all you do for Thunder and Lightning. It's appreciate it. Our next open mic, good friend and member of Thunder and Lightning, Aura Valdez. Aura?
I'm not sure if Aura's made it.
Oh,
I haven't seen them
okay.
in the participants list.
Okay, we'll move on then.
Yeah.
So we'll move on with our first co-feature. Our first co-feature is a two-time self-published author who has established a presence within the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, showcasing his talents at various open mics, events, churches, art, fashion shows, and online platforms, where he has garnered success in poetry. His work delves into themes of faith, relationships, and mental health, offering sincere and creative reflections aimed at guiding others on their personal journeys. As a dedicated writer, Rose's endeavors to inspire and support individuals through the power of honesty and creativity. Please welcome to the virtual stage, Roses.
Thank you all. It's such a blessing to share this space with so many special people and creatives, and I am very thankful to be in this moment with everyone. I'm going to share some poetry now. This first poem is entitled Late Night Conversations. Act 1, Venting. As above, so below, so where are you, God? Because right now, all I see is bills piling up. My stress is piling up atop embers of anger, and my patience is about as thin as a piece of paper. And I just got cut. As above, so below, so where are you, God? Because it feels like I see you about as much as my tears that I don't allow to fall. Then, within the time that it takes lightning to strike, I have a brief moment of clarity. You never left. I just chose to look at everything to the left as if I could ever come up with a better plan than the 66 letters you left. My ways are lies of comfortability I listen to in order to ignore the voice I hear calling me outside of the box and closer to the thunder. November 9th, 2022, the tears became rain. And they say real men don't cry, but Jesus wept. So who am I to crown my pride as if it shines? His tears wiped my sins away. So I know progress requires window pane along with water stained cheeks in order for the soul to bloom. He responds, I still love you. Act 2, Confessions. I often confuse my pride for the sun, and then comes the fall, and I'm not one for heights. I'm still learning that humility doesn't have the view of a high horse, and dying to self is different from suicide. It's more like take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. But if I can't dance in the spirit high off life, I'm low. Dear Rose, you are not alone. Lord, I don't want depression to remain an idol, leaving me idle without the gold, because American idols are all dead and dressed in green. Life isn't the game show we treat it as. It's spiritual warfare, and there's a conflict within my head. Lord, help me to remember that the physical war is a result from the spiritual, and death is a curse born from sin, but raised by internal bleeding that wouldn't cry for another 33 years. Lord, I don't want my selfishness to kill me before I get closer to the version of myself you see. He responds, I still love you. Act 3, Praise. I know my obedience doesn't always show it, but I love you too. Thank you for allowing me to have an infinity of take twos, and hallelujah to a pure and righteous God that would touch my dirty rags just so I could be closer to him. His patience, his love surrounds me so much so that if I would just fall, nothing would ever harm me. If I would just fall, the fruit would fall. And His spirit would defend me. Why is it so hard to fall? Even though I hesitate to jump, I'll still sing the name Jesus. P.S. Help me not to question where you are, but where I am with you. This next poem is entitled INFJ. INFJ is my personality description from the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator personality test. Having a background in psychology, learning and studying behaviors is always interesting to me. And so the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or the MBTI, is the most accurate personality test in the world. So if you haven't taken it, I would encourage everyone to try it out because it helps you learn a lot about yourself. The rarest personality trait in the US, making up 1 to 3% of the population. Although this is very cool, it's hard to find those who you can truly relate to or be open with. The quote says, with great power comes great responsibility. So off days must bloom even when I feel off, quickly collecting myself. Where is my super suit? I have incredible things to do. My superpower sports a cape of compassion, like a brand new bow tie, but they can't see me when I graze the clouds because their mirror gets ignored for parts they wish to see for themselves and everyone else. Judgment then gets passed at a surface level, but my mind is only comfortable in the sky. My secret identity is me, myself, and I, but they never see the passion behind the why. I'm a pretty good judge of character. After about 3 goodbyes, I can dissect parts of your heart that need surgery, the parts that make you cry. I can feel the shift in your breathing from across the room. I can tell your mood based on the way you're walking or talking. I can stop the bleeding with my words of wisdom, words that have traveled around the world and seen multiple lives, lives that have ended early, lives that couldn't find purpose, lives that found love and happiness, lives that weren't treated fairly, lives that only saw hell. And a lucky few, only heaven knew, all these residences 100 lifetimes could never see. My intuition breathes on the daily. It's exhausting, but I'll never get tired of helping others. I'm an empath, so my path encompasses the needs of others. I'm still learning to acknowledge my own. I'm observant on a microscopic level, so it feels as if I can predict the future when I just notice the behavior patterns most glance over. The keys are in the details, but no one reads between the lines. People only want the cliff notes. Well, pull out your pen. I'm going to bring success to you. Number 1, love others more than yourself, and true love will be attracted to you. You won't have to keep searching for it only to find pain. Number 2, gratitude. It's the only peace that lasts longer than self-care or a vacation. Stop stressing over the things you can't control. Number 3, fear and compassion are cousins that shouldn't be in your family tree. They are poisoning your roots. So have a conversation with the two and watch how relatable the confidence you thought you never knew begins to bloom. P.S. My superpower is learning to be a better version of me. Poem. So, if you haven't noticed, one of my signatures for all of my poetry is I end them with the PS, and the PS stands for postscript, and the PS is my way of getting my final thought, tying everything together, or letting go of any harboring emotions that inspired or caused me to write the piece. So this next poem is entitled Her Favorite Candle is My Cologne. She said, "Get dressed, we're going out." Immediately, my introverted thoughts tied me down to the chair where I was watching a movie. She could see my hesitation, breathing hard, so she quickly interjected, "Before you say no, I took care of all the essentials so you don't have to worry about anything. It's all planned out. I know you don't like to always get fancy, so this is more of a business casual scene." She then casually walks away, saying, "I need to go get ready. We're leaving in about 40. I leave the comfortableness of my chair and make my way to the closet, trying to find my best, to closet my anxiety. Maybe my off-whites will help me walk away from the dark thoughts. Today feels like a bow tie day. I usually put my cologne on last, but in the rush of the moment, things got mixed up. 3 sprays, and she could sense the scent in the atmosphere change. Lust became a dangerous game. She ran my direction and said, "Close your eyes before she entered the room. I don't want you to see my outfit." She ran up behind me and her lips hugged my cheek. Then she walked in front of me. Her hands covered my eyes. She asked, "What is that you're wearing?" As I started to speak, her lips gripped mine before I could get a word out. She said, "It smells sweet." I replied, "Like candy?" She said, "Yes." She then proceeded to steal 2 more candy-coated cologne kisses from me. "Now, finish getting ready," she whispered as she left the room. P.S. I'm so in love. Poem. This next poem is entitled Daffodil Yellow. When my earth quakes, everything I'm trying to circus balance on my last ounce of positive will, the Jenga begins to fall. but there are a couple of things that calm me down before the rubble of anxiety fills the air. This poem is about my favorite thing. I think it's my favorite because of the seasonal hide and go seek merry-go-round trip. They allow me to travel. The seed is forever present, but not every flower smiles the same. However, in full bloom, I picture a Van Gogh field of floral prints in my frontal lobe, and I just want to let my kisses frolic through your petals, because when the sun butterfly kisses your skin, it gives your freckles goosebumps. I'm drunk from the way your daisy dot face tattoos pull me from reality. The feeling hugs like a daffodil yellow, the warmth brewing mid-morning when the sun only has the blinds open a little. The pastel sunrise in your eyes is making the 6 a.m. night soft. Here's a cloudy thought. I wish I could paint every single freckle of yours a daffodil yellow and tell you how much I love them all. But yes, I just want to tell you how much I love them all. And yes, I do have a favorite. And no, I'm not telling you because to see your daffodil yellow freckles wink at me is to die for. It's the country song that keeps me wanting more. It's the slow caress to my stress that massages the pain away. It's my favorite. P.S. Her daffodil yellow is my reason my smile says hello. Poem. And I'm going to share one more with you guys. This last one is inspired by from a quote from the book The Great Gatsby. It's one of my favorite books and movies. So this one is entitled Nicky. If beautiful was printed from a negative, it would have the silhouette of a rose, because roses are sculpted from the hands of immortality, breathed from marble no one saw as a flower. Every petal flaunts the gorgeous of galaxies, positively divine. The eyes of roses are as ocean deep as the sky is blue. They see the life. They see life the way it's supposed to be. The way it's supposed to be lived, balanced in duality, life and death, a marriage with as many anniversaries as time. The two need to become one so fear may bloom into confidence. A rose might be one of the few things to achieve perfection on earth, the way its attraction reflects the heavens. It is just as beautiful and symbolic in death as the climax of its glow. The way it smiles ages like the innocence of a child until its aroma becomes the wine from 35, the way it freezes death into a Picasso Dali-esque piece of painted poetry. A rose understands the heartbeat of death, the silence of life and humility. That's why they are used during and after life. Have you ever seen such grace command hell? Roses make the marble soft and the concrete cry and anxiety strong. And that is why I say you remind me of a rose, an absolute rose. You can and you are everything you want to achieve. P.S. It's never too late to sculpt your rose. Poem.
Thank you, Roses, for sharing that great poetry, for being community with us, man. Always love being sharing space with you. So thank you
Thank you
again.
guys so much.
Yeah, thank you, man. And please support Roses' work. Follow him on the socials, and he has a new ebook. So check that out if you're able to. We're gonna continue with 3 more open mics. Let's first bring up MS Marquart.
Thank you, Valois. I'm a disabled, mixed race, Asian American poet, and my writing, I try to shine a light on the details of life with long COVID and myalgic encephalomyelitis, also known as MECFS. And after I read, I'll share some links in the chat also. So I'm going to share 2 poems. This first poem is forthcoming in the Pillow Writers Anthology, issue 2, which is due out December 15th. And proceeds from that anthology will benefit ME Action, which is an organization that does amazing work for supporting people like me who have MECFS. And the poem will be in issue 2, but there's not a link for issue 2 yet. So I'll share a link for issue 1 because that also benefits ME Action. And in terms of an image description, I'm wearing an ME Action hoodie. I'm a woman with pink glasses on and dark hair, and I've got a pillow behind me and pillow in front of me, pillows everywhere. All right, this first one is called Power. I'm sorry to hear that your doctor has written a letter stating that due to your long COVID and MECFS disabilities, your health will be severely and irreversibly damaged by coming into the office. You may have done this job remotely for years, but now you need to come in 3 days a week. What may I do from home, and what must I do in the office my job provides? Answer emails, work on spreadsheets, read articles and guides, talk on the phone, join web meetings, collaborate with remote colleagues nationwide, facilitate virtual trainings, draft presentation slides. My boss decides. When coming into the office permanently harms my health, what is worth making me sick? Being available just in case my boss needs to pop in for something quick? Needing all bodies in the office to justify the rent's expense uptick? Being physically closer to participate in the vicious internal politics? Sitting at a desk for any VIP's booth that needs a lick? My boss has the power to pick. How much will my health deteriorate? Will I never be able to go have coffee with friends? Never take my husband on a date? Never travel to see my aging parents again, who live in another state? Never stargaze, never lie on a beach, never watch the spring flowers in the park regenerate? Never earn another degree, never learn an instrument, never artistically create, never achieve my dreams, never have a day when my health feels great. My boss controls my fate. Might I live or might I die? My boss decides. Poem. And the second poem is one that I've been working on that I feel shared to move after the election results. And this poem is after Solmaz Sharif's social skills training. It's called Triple Invisible. Studies say that more than half of Americans cannot name a single famous Asian American person. Studies say that Jackie Chan is the most common response, but he is a Chinese citizen, not American. I am a mixed race American, half Asian background, half German background. Am I half invisible? No one has ever looked at me and asked me about Germany, but white men in the street yell Japanese or Korean words at me. They see me as foreign, as one of those Asians that all blend together. Studies say that in the last 12 months, a third of Asian Americans were called a slur, verbally harassed, or verbally abused. Studies say that about half of Asian Americans expect to be the victim of a physical attack and/or discrimination in the next 5 years. My heart races when I think about going outside with my Asian face, my cane, and my shuffling walk. Adrenaline sweeps through my body, making my hands shake as I place pepper spray in my pocket along with my keys. I strategize about whether I can use my cane to defend myself without falling down, especially without falling down onto the city's ever-present sidewalk pee or poop. Studies say that people with disabilities are twice as likely to be victims of violence. Studies say that only about 20% of disabled people can find employers that will hire them. Studies say that people with disabilities are more likely to be divorced. One 2024 United States presidential candidate / former president / future president has said about disabled people, maybe those kinds of people should just die. Sometimes the idea of invisibility relaxes my jaw and shoulders, like a break spent sitting in sunshine with a friend, my hands wrapped around a warm cup of rosemary tea, the steam lifting the light green fragrance to my face while I breathe deeply. In orientation icebreakers, first-year college students decide between invisibility and flying as their superpower of choice. An invisibility cloak would be so cool, some say. Studies say that women over 50 start to become invisible. Studies say that doctors disregard women over 50. Studies say that many doctors of long COVID and ME/CFS sufferers gaslight their patients, prescribing treatments known to be ineffective or even extremely harmful to their physical and mental well-being. Studies say that millions of ME/CFS sufferers are missing from society, trapped at home. Sometimes my throat chokes from holding in my screams for justice. Sometimes my chest hurts from my voice digging around, seeking the magic words that will cure my invisibility. Sometimes my brain burns as I chase the persuasive arguments that elude me. On the playground below my window, little children call out to parents, "Look at me, look at me." Poem.
Thank you, friend, for sharing your work and your beautiful words and for being in space with us.
Thank you.
Uh, Our next open mic performer is Nadia Boone.
Hi, my name is Nadia, pronoun she, her, ella. I'll be staying off camera tonight to conserve energy. I am a female Latina, Indigenous, transracial adoptee, and long COVID warrior. I have black wavy, medium length hair, and I'm wearing an oversized red sweater sitting on my couch. I'm humbly grateful to be here in this compassionate and supportive space. Now more than ever, we need communities like this. For me, poetry has been a bridge, connecting me with others and facilitating healing. My first piece is called Invisible Battles. Every chronic illness brings concern beyond any labels, mark or burn. Every being deserves to be honored, supported in crisis, safe and unencumbered. Quality of life holds profound meaning, even when some phases feel misleading. Anxiety and depression may rise when love is withheld, hope disguised. Overlapping symptoms can be tiring. Daily tasks become increasingly wearing. Energy reserves shift with each new phase, while the inner fire continues to blaze. Finding passions within the healing, seeing the inner light to start revealing. Learning to build a foundation of inner trust, creating moments of joy, simple yet robust. Discovering one's worth in a quiet space, deepening self-connection, uncovering grace, revealing treasures hidden in the dark, through turmoil's path, each a glimmering spark. Poem. And then my other piece, thank you, is called A Call from Mother Earth. Every being on Mother Earth is accepted fully, valued in worth, regardless of one's journey or origin. There is no need for judgment or comparison. Mother Earth is resilient. Her love is pure. In every creature, her spirit endures. Through ages of pain and trials immense, her strength and grace make perfect sense. Mother Earth calls for our hands in healing. Every nation, being, her need is revealing. Honoring this land that we all roam, a beautiful world we call home. We each hold power to lend support. Every act of compassion plays its part. Compassion for Earth and all her kin. Every being is a cherished child within. Her forests, oceans, rivers wide, all are caregivers at her side. Every element and place we tread needs help to restore what lies ahead. It begins with presence, conscious and kind, opening the heart, expanding the mind, accepting the call to love and care, planting seeds of change that grow everywhere. Poem.
Thank you, Nadia, for sharing those beautiful poems, from being in space with us also. Thank you. our final open mic, before we go to our final co-feature, is Jennifer Wang. Excuse me, Jennifer Wang. Jennifer?
Right. Thanks for having me. I'm Jennifer Elise Wang. I'm a non-binary femme STEM and also punk rock pretty boy poet. They, she pronouns. I am an Asian NB with chin length hair that's been clipped back, got black glasses, and I'm wearing an orange shirt. So I've got two pieces. The first one is my kind of reaction to the election results and also kind of being told I had to censor my work from my parents. So instead, I wrote a title that would make my mom the angriest. So it's called Fuck Republicans and Fuck Monsters because I'm still in a Halloween mood. So content warning for just some very visceral descriptions. Fuck Republicans and fuck monsters. Call it avoidance, escapism, dissociation. But I chose to watch streamers play Monster Camp instead of election results get announced because somehow I knew disappointment would trump hope. You see, my fellow humans have always been the most terrifying. Rather than go to bed with anxiety over loss of bodily autonomy and freedoms presumed fundamental, though the founding fathers only meant for them to belong to a certain group, I choose to dream of monsters who embrace me as I am, or can offer the transformation I desire without paperwork or judgment, an undeath to finish the process wearing me down with each day of forced participation in the capitalist grind, a single bite to kill my oocytes and the me people think to be conservative and cis, because that is the category of Asian they assign me. There's still the womb I want to extract, but undead me will happily be disemboweled by a werewolf or giant spider paramour, giving my flesh for their love. Maybe I'll hook up with the devil, a Faustian pact of fucking. He always keeps his promises, unlike the politicians in all parties and the family who say they love me, yet vote against my survival, or don't care enough to vote at all. Maybe I'll find a Jennifer Check type of demon girlfriend who's a little toxic in personality and saliva, but I will happily swallow that poison if we can together destroy the men who shame us for being childless or try to grab our pussies. They'll go for her first because she's hotter, only to find that she has vagina dentata and it's all canines ready to rip into their flesh that she consumes in a manner some would deem unladylike, but I just call sexy. I ask if she knows of a demon who can possess this problematic body, so I can have fangs to replace the molars I'm grinding down from this feeling of impending doom. And so my second piece, a little different, some backstory to this. I wrote this poem in response to a poet, initially to Lisa Huffaker mentioning eyeballs in her poem, and I have a slight obsession with eyeballs. Left it sitting, and then so this past summer I got hit by a car and developed an eye problem, and I've written about both in poems, so I kind of thought I cursed myself, and so revised this poem to kind of reflect this weird journey I've had with my vision and eyeballs and bad luck apparently in my poetry. So this is the eyeball poem. As a kid, I wanted to be an owl, so my eyeballs would be static. It hurt to move them too much, although sometimes I wish I could roll them so far that I would be staring at my brain. When I was a teenage insomniac, I'd say my eyeballs were on fire during the 8 a.m. class. No wonder when I did college theater, I'd feel the burn of tears, but nothing came out. People called me unemotional, said my eyes looked dead in pictures, even when I tried to smize like a top model. The cells in my eyeballs are dying, and I think about retinal detachment frequently. You would think I know if the flashing and floaters are from that and not my mind's eye going wild, but anxiety keeps you from seeing clearly. I learned the vitreous can detach too. My dad sent me a video of his vitrectomy, and I couldn't look at the close-ups, already haunted by the implication of bladeless LASIK, and what if I needed the knife? Could I gouge out an infected eye and offer it in my palm for power, like some of my anime crushes? Did I doom myself with temporary vision loss, multiple evanescent white dot syndrome in conceiving this poem? Eye patches are sexy, at least. And I'm happy to say my vision is restored mostly, but that was a very not fun process of a very rare syndrome to experience and go through.
Thank you, Jennifer, for sharing your story. And I love the thought of cursing oneself. That's pretty funny. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Our final poet and second co-feature tonight is the author of What Good Is Heaven, a debut poetry collection navigating a queer coming-of-age narrative in rural Alabama. Recently out from Texas Review Press and their Southern Poetry Breakthrough Series. The poetry appears in American Poetry Review, 32 poems, their journal, and elsewhere. She teaches in the English department at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. Please give a warm welcome for Raye Hendrix.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for all of the incredible, like, inspiring words y'all are sharing. I've been thinking this whole evening, listening to y'all and just thinking with you and being with you about how I'm a Capricorn. I usually don't like get teary, but like my emotions are everywhere this week. I've just everything that I've ever learned about survival has come from listening to and being in community with other marginalized folks. And it's just being here with y'all just gives me hope that, and not even just hope, but just certainty that we will outlive these motherfuckers in some way. Maybe not us individually, but like the spirit that we have and the things that we value, because we know how to care for each other in a way that they've never known and never will know. And that's really radically beautiful to me. So, whew, let me chill out. I'm gonna read some poems. I emailed Val earlier and Laura and emailed and just like I had a set of poems that I was gonna read, and then the election happened, and I needed to like rearrange my life a little bit. So I'm gonna read some poems from my book that just came out, which is here. I'm really excited about it. It came out in September. It still feels really, really wild to have it in my hands. But I'm also gonna read a couple of other poems that are not in the book, and I will start with some book poems and end with a book poem. But anyway, I think it was a little bit in the intro, but the book is very much about my upbringing in farm country in rural North Alabama, which is still part of Appalachia, a little bit in the foothills. So I want to, as a queer non-binary woman, and oh, that reminds me, I did not do my visual description earlier. I'm very sorry. I am a white non-binary woman with long reddish brown hair, and I'm wearing a black shirt in a fairly dark room because it's after 10 on the east in the Eastern time zone. But the book and these poems are about growing up and this coming of age in this like violent farm country that was also violent to women and queer people and other marginalized folks. So content warnings for queer violence and animal death. I relate a lot of the queer violence back to animal death. So I just wanted to, and it's a lot of farm kind of agricultural death in that sense. So I just wanted to put those content warnings out there for y'all. Then I'll get started and I'll stop rambling. This first poem is called Skinning the Fox. Still dark out when my father pulls the trigger. The air rings like a bell after the gunshot, as if purified by sound. Only Enoch and Elijah got to leave this world alive, he tells me, hours later. Large hands shaving skin from pink meat. The fox, its body strung between us, rope cinched around a slender foot. The body sways as he slices, an inconsistent pendulum marking time it will not see. It wiggles, almost playful, almost dancing, skin turned down like the skirts of girls on playgrounds after church. He says, please understand, I had to shoot it. And I do. The fox was wreaking havoc in the hen house, the goat pen, stealing chickens and killing kids. My father tried to be humane, set traps, built better fences. He tried. And each dawn mocked his efforts with the awful fuss of death. I help him stretch the pelt across the rack, ribbon guts into a bucket, scrub stray blood from the floor. He tried. I know, I say, but did we have to skin it? No, he tells me. No, that's not the point. Oh. The poems that I switched to are a little, I think, more grounded in queerness and also like thinking about mercy and violence. So that's a lot of the themes here, and I think that's the theme of the book, but they feel relevant right now. And I forget who said it, but someone earlier said something about like my mom would hate the title of this poem. This poem is my mom's least favorite poem that I've ever written, so I'm gonna read it for you. It is called Bottomfeeder. In church, I was told I was only good for sinking. So as a child, I skipped Sunday school, brought a girl from class down with me, and we slicked our small bodies through the vent in the door to the empty daycare. Sucked sweet milk bottles meant for babies, since we still were babies too. The butterfly of our hips had not yet opened. With short hair, we still looked like little boys. In the first sex dream I remember, I was alone. A penis hung useless between my adolescent legs. Unwieldy, gray and hungry as a catfish, I had to feed myself. And when I woke, I knew I belonged at the bottom of some murky depth, needed a wider mouth. I still don't know whose body I belong to. Mine are the ones who've been inside it, or the ones I've been inside. Desire like this should be too slippery a thing to have fins as sharp as these. If you hold me by my softer parts, I'll still try to slice open your palm. Even when you love me right, I thrash. Poem. I'm trying really hard for the sake of the interpreters, to tamp down all my Southern accent. But I keep messing up words. Anyway, this next poem is in memory of and dedicated to Nicholas Hawkins, who was a bisexual teenager who was murdered on February 13th, 2016, in Walker County in Alabama, where at the time, and hopefully not, but potentially soon to be again, violence against the LGBTQ plus community was not considered a hate crime. This poem is called Catalog of Acceptable Violence. A fish hook through the thumb your grandfather removes with pliers rusty from rain. Transubstantiation of wine on Sunday mornings. The sons of God breaking flesh to bread. The neighbor boys firing pellet guns at feral cats behind the barn. A boy in the bed of a truck with a shotgun, bleach, and blankets. A boy left in a field of moonlight, the consequence of kissing other boys. A string looped around a loose tooth, and the knob of a door your father slams to pull it from your skull. A bullet to the brain of a rabid possum in the yard that threatens the family dog. The boys at the rodeo, bucked by bulls with blunted horns, their trophies in the bruises and the blood. Poem. I think I read this at my last Thunder and Lightning reading, but it's been a long time, so I'm going to read it again. This poem is called Drought. Summer held thunder to the mountainside like a lover, but offered nothing. Heat lightning, the false prophet of rain, a chalk dry sky that swallowed the moon and everything blue. My mother didn't believe in omens, but that year I caught her lighting candles for want of water. Found my father staring at what was left of the lake, the way its cracked shoreline curled like the mocking smile of a skull. On Sunday mornings, the preacher said it was sin, our secret pleasures, that kept the rain at bay. So men lined up all summer to be baptized, and all the women started wearing white. The week after the abortion, I wanted to be heavy, so despite the drought, I swallowed water in secret, wrapped my body around whatever spigot I could find, while the pious prayed for rain. And like Judas kissing cheeks on Sunday, I prayed with them, tested the weight of water on my knees. But when it finally came, it flooded everything, uprooted anything that might have grown. Poem. Sorry, I'm scrolling through. I'm gonna read two more shorter poems from the book really quickly, and then I'm gonna read a couple that are not in the book, but I think that are more related to disability justice for me. So the next poem is called The Darkest Place in Alabama. Milk splashed in a great black empty cauldron. The stars, so thick they embarrass the moon, seem to drip from the dark pale of the sky into the river, the pines, a silver lining to isolation, the loneliness of too much land with too few people in it. Godless in God's country, I count myself their kinfolk, those distant clustered suns, heaven's fiery queers that seem so close but never touch, glittering together and alone, spread beyond the reach of love. No blood, thick or otherwise, to speak of, no resemblance, no relation. Still, I call them family, celestial cousins. But I am most like the stars, in that I consume myself in absence. What else is there to do in all that empty space but burn? Poem. A lot of the book, if you didn't notice by now, deals with my relationship, my falling out with the Southern Baptist Church, and that God. I'm not actually anti-religion or anti-faith, but a lot of these poems are negotiating with the cruelty of the God that I grew up with, in comparison to the spirituality and the God that I have found in my own life and in relationships and things like that. So, yeah, fun stuff. This next poem is dedicated to my mama, who I still call mama. I still call my mom mama and my dad daddy. I'm an Alabamian in my soul. So this is for my mama, and it's called Hurt in the Soul of Every Joy. My mother has told me how, when she was young, she broke a glass in her own mother's kitchen, and fearful of the scold, she cleaned it up too quickly, missed the thinnest shard, invisible on the tile, which she found hours later with a bare heel. And how, while hopping to a chair to pull the sliver out, she lost her balance, and with animal instinct stopped herself from falling with weight on the wrong foot, burying the splinter deeper, beyond the blood and callus into the soft heart of flesh. And how she tore her skin with tweezers, trying to dig it out and failed. How she forced a straight face or a smile through the pain, walked without a limp to keep her mother in the dark. How, over time, she almost forgot the glass was even there, the reminder most often coming on the heels of delight, a thoughtless turn while barefoot dancing, the shifting weight from hip to hip while trying on impractical pairs of shoes. And how, years later, she finally told a doctor who found the buried sliver on an x-ray, who said, at this point, the glass is part of her body, said more pain would come from its removal than if she let it be, so she let it be. The potential for pain in the pulse of every pleasure, the shadow of hurt in the soul of every joy. This is the way I understand the bravery of love. Poem. Thank you. I have 3 poems left, and they're all short, actually 4 poems, but they're all shorter. If that's enough time. I'll stop doing commentary, but the next few poems are not from the book. But I have several non-apparent disabilities, and so that shows up in weird ways sometimes. One of them is a chronic illness that technically renders me intersex with my hormone levels, and I didn't know that until I saw a doctor who like finally told me when I was like 31, which is crazy to me or wild to me, that I didn't know about my own body until someone else told me. And so this poem is one that reckons with that. And this is titled Intersex Bloodwork. Sorry. Intersex Bloodwork. At least you're a woman where it counts, he says, eyes cold on my chest where it curves the white paper gown like the half heart-shaped tucked wing of a swan. I am unsexed in a sterile bouquet, little tubes warm with a red I didn't get to choose. He doesn't ask what I want, only what's between my legs, if that particular bloom opens as it should. He wants to know if I fuck like I bleed, androgyne, multitudinous. Yes and no, neither and both. And isn't God also a mystery men have tried to pour into a glass whose shape they understand? Ask me what I want. Call me anything but woman where it counts, which is not what this man thinks. Not a body passive, but contradiction. A mystery in a woman-shaped glass. Fuck it. Call me God. It's only blasphemy if you believe it. Poem. I'm actually going to skip the next one because I'm cognizant of time. I'm really glad someone else read like a Fuck Republicans poem, so thank you for that. I think it was Jennifer Elise Wang. Thank you for that one. I'm also going to read a Fuck Republicans type poem. This poem is called Punchline, and spoiler is that the punchline is the very last line of the poem. So there's that. Punchline. So the devil, who between you and me has been terribly misrepresented since basically forever. I mean, maybe he just really liked apples or pomegranates or whatever fruit historians think was on that tree, and he saw Eve and was like, whoa, haven't seen one of those before. I bet it doesn't know about apples or pomegranates or whatever. So anyway, the devil is actually a pretty okay guy, a pacifist even. He prefers nonviolence, which is part of the gig, but hey, it's a job, which he knows he's lucky to have in this economy. You know, count your blessings, etc. So he delegates the hardcore shit and does stand-up comedy in hell as a form of psychological torture where the only rules are, number 1, you have to laugh at every joke like you're in the audience of a 1990s sitcom, In hell, you have to specify which 90s. Or you spend the next 1,000 years, which is different in hell time, just one day up here, in the 1,000-year Sisyphus pit of needles and boiling lava acid, which, aside from the Sisyphus part, is not a metaphor. It's exactly what it sounds like. Because the devil, being a fair, nonviolent pacifist, decided if there had to be hardcore shit, the least he could do is let folks know what they're in for. And number 2, the jokes are never funny. He always says, "So what's the deal with airplane food?" And Ronald Reagan laughs and laughs and laughs. Poem. My parents hate that poem also. Anyway, this is I kind of wanted to end on like a rebellious high note. So this last poem is another one from my book, and I think is also kind of a fuck you poem, but one that like gives me like fun fuck you vibes. So this last poem that I'm gonna read is called Against Salvation. If beauty is a sin, give me beauty. If gluttony, a fork and knife. Let me drink the sweet water of youth's fountain while young, waste it deliciously, gulp every brief drop. No going back, no turning unless it's into a pillar of salt. If sloth, give me the luxury of convenience and a lover to decay with. Of angels and their offices, I want no part, except maybe the ones who lusted, desired more or anything other than an eternity of peace, golden palaces with pearl-laid streets. Gold bores me, peace bores me. I cannot eat a pearl. If I must confess and repent to enter paradise, I confess I don't want it. I repent of nothing but the time spent fearing holy wrath. Gold, pearls, saints, paradise sounds like it would bore me. So if heaven is a paradise, I will face God and dance backwards into hell, which can't be that much worse than Alabama. If eternal life is what I lose for loving her, give me her and the quick burn of mortality. And if mortality is a curse, oh God, I beg of you, curse me. Curse me, curse me, forever and ever. Amen. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Raye, so much for being here and sharing your work. And please, everybody, if you're able to buy Raye's book, I always enjoy hearing your words. Thank you, Raye. All right, that brings us to the end of our show. Before we get there, I wanted to give some thank yous first to our poets who as usual bare their souls for all of us, and that's not easy. So thank you for that. Thank you, Art Spark Texas and Coalition of Texas with Disabilities for their support providing ASL interpreters and cart captioning. Thank you to our ASL interpreters and cart captioning people. Yeah, I just, I'm gonna end with a poem, but before I do so, I hope these, couple of hours was able to fill some of that darkness with a little light and a little love. So this poem I only read in this space, and it's probably one of the first poems I've read here 2-3 years ago. So I thought it'd be apropos to read this. Thunder and Lightning, Feast of the Peasants. Welcome, fellow creatives, artists, orators, and scribes. Tonight we feast. We fill our souls with fresh fruits from the plantations of poetry. We fill our body minds with intoxicating wines from the vineyards of our verses. We fill the arena with a bouquet, perfumed imagery and melody, majestically in aromatic festivity, truth, power, and identity. Tonight, we feast. For we have been deemed peasants, denied of dignity for much too long. We feast, for we have been stripped human rights tattered for much too long. We feast, for we have been muted, mocked, minimized, marginalized, much, much too long. The hue of our ancestry, skin brilliant in its various shades, tradition, heritage, and values weaponized with eyes who see no value. Tone of our tongue singing songs of generational tales. Love language is weaponized, ears who hear no love. Expression of our truths, interlocking fingers of soulmates and soul searchers. Weaponized by sanctimonious hatred and violence. Love is love is love is love. And tonight, we feasted on love. With window-shaped scars, our faces pressed against to look inside no more. We feast on love with tragedy's trails embedded our nightmare-laced memory no more. We feast on love with righteous anger pouring our God-placed universe no more. Those who bear witness, let it be said that this feast, this partaking of poetic promiscuity, birthed a revival, the revolution. Let it be written that this feast, this festival of visceral verse, sowed seeds of symphony. Let it be known that this feast, this sanctuary of ceremony and song, was shaken by voices of thunder and brilliance of lightning. Thank you everyone again for being here. Be safe and have a great rest of your year. Take care. And if you want to unmute now and say goodbyes and hellos, feel free.